With the Polestar 4, the brand needed to do something different. They have. This electric coupe SUV is nothing quite like any of its talented premium-badged mid-sized EV rivals and will be a desirable trinket for the right kind of customer. Whether it's the volume model Polestar needs is another question.
The Polestar 4. It's a different kind of Polestar, a different kind of EV, and the brand says a different kind of mid-sized SUV coupe. The model number doesn't designate a bigger car. The 4 actually fits into the range between the smaller Polestar 2 and the larger Polestar 3. But it is, as that numeral suggests, the 4th design that this increasingly international manufacturer has brought us. The marque is grounded in Sweden and the cars are built in and financed by China. The models are partly engineered in the UK and are marketed by a brand listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange in New York. The company's future will partly depend on this so-called reinvention of the coupe SUV, because this Polestar 4 is expected soon to take over from the Polestar 2 as the company's top seller and boost total brand global sales up towards 165,000 cars a year. Directly in its sights are sportier, more premium mid-sized EV models like the BMW i4 and the Porsche Macan electric, maybe also the Audi Q6 e-tron, as well as aspiring fashionable ones like the Tesla Model Y and the Lexus RZ. To stand out, this 4 will need to make headlines, and it already has. It was launched as the first production car to be introduced without a rear window, but there's a lot more to this Polestar than that. You can find out more by downloading the Car and Driving app, and here by watching the industry's most comprehensive review, the Car and Driving Road Test. The Polestar 4 might not be that much bigger than the Polestar 2, but it's very differently engineered. Under the skin lies the Geely SEA, or Sustainable Experience Architecture platform, which we've seen used in an extraordinarily wide selection of cars. Everything from a compact smart #1 to a large luxury Lotus Emea. And the only battery available bolted to it is much larger than you get in a 2, 100 kilowatt hours in size and 94 kilowatt hours of which is usable. In short, it's not only the looks of this car that make it more ambitious than the other mid-sized EV crossover models. The drivetrain choice on offer makes it feel more familiar. We've tried both kinds with this test, either the rear-driven long-range single-motor version, or, if there's more in the budget of course, a punchy long-range dual-motor variant that feels quite different and is for those who are after some serious speed. As you'd expect, it's the rear-driven version that most customers choose here. This offers 268 bhp, 0 to 62 miles an hour in 7.1 seconds, and a range of 385 miles. It is all you really need, unless you want to take on faster rivals like the Tesla Model Y Performance or the Porsche Macan Electric 4S, in which case you're going to need that long-range dual-motor variant's extra thrust. With that top model, adding an extra identical motor onto the front axle boosts total output to 536 bhp and nearly doubles the pulling power from 343 to 686 newton meters, and that lowers the sprint time to just 3.8 seconds without too much cost on EV range, a still respectable 367 miles. Maximum speed on all models is limited to a quite un-EV-like 124 mph. As for drive impressions, well, we'll start with this Polestar's party piece. You might wonder how you're going to adjust to manoeuvring about in a car that doesn't have a rear window. It actually doesn't take all that long to adjust to it. You won't want to stare at the 8.9-inch digital rearview mirror for very long, but then you shouldn't be doing that anyway. And it does work well with a 121-degree field of view. It can pan left and right when you're indicating. You can adjust the display's brightness and also the view to make it look reasonably natural, and there's a standard surround view camera system too for tight car parks. The brakes feel natural too, which isn't always a given in a segment where our rivals often struggle to combine regen force with friction retardation. 2 screen selectable, 1 pedal drive brake regeneration options now offered, low and stronger standard, and they're all you really need. There are 3 steering weight options as well, but Polestar doesn't think that you need any fake drivetrain sound effects. On this rear-driven version, or rather curiously, there are no drive modes, although you do get them on the dual motor variant. You get range and performance settings, plus there's launch control too. As the 12 o'clock marker on the steering wheel suggests, this Sino-Swedish maker wants its products to feel sporty, and that inevitably means a somewhat firm standard of ride. Adaptive suspension is restricted to the dual motor model and then enhanced with Polestar engineered chassis tuning if you pay even more on that top variant for the optional performance pack, which also includes bigger Brembo brakes. Even without all this embellishment though, you could live with the standard passive setup perfectly easily, and it certainly promotes an impressive level of body control through the bends. We're not talking Porsche Macan electric standards of cornering drivability here, and steering feel is never as involving as you'll find on that Zuffenhauser model of course, but there's no doubt that this Polestar does hide its prodigious 2,230 kilo curb weight exceptionally well on twisty roads at speed. Like most EVs though, it's much more in its comfort zone on the highway where refinement is well controlled, although on this test car we did notice more rattles than we'd have expected for a car that's aspiring to premium brand status. At a cruise you can start to appreciate the way that this 4 has been engineered for as much self-driving tech as individual market laws will currently allow. LiDAR sensors and a bank of radars and cameras on the car create a 3D map of its surroundings in real time, and that allows this Polestar to see up to 600 meters away or up to 7.5 seconds ahead of the vehicle at highway speeds. And that allows centimetre level precision that enables the 4 to map the environment and the traffic conditions around it. The result with the pilot assist system that most models will have is the capability for eyes-on autonomous driving on major roads, and for the future the potential for completely autonomous highway driving without the driver having to pay any attention at all really. Doing without a rear window, it seems, was just the start of the way that this car really wants to change the way that you drive. The Polestar 4 is theoretically a swept-back coupe SUV, although there's nothing very SUV looking about it. Now you might well have heard about this car's headline-grabbing feature that, as you can see, it has no rear window, a design flourish that was previously previewed by the brand's Precept concept car. What that means for passengers, we'll get into shortly. Let's cover a few more basic things first. The 4,839mm length positions it between the brand's 2 and 3 models, and there are the kind of big range-sapping wheels of between 20 and 22 inches that you'd think an efficient EV really wouldn't want. But this car's more about style than sensibility. Take, for example, the decision to continue with conventional door mirrors with this smart frameless design rather than the kind of camera stalk system with interior corner screens that you get on, say, a rival Hyundai Ioniq 6. That suggests Polestar's priority here wasn't to make this 4 class-leadingly slippery, and sure enough, it isn't. Despite the flush glazing and the retractable door handles, the drag coefficient here is almost 0.27 CD, some way behind a rival Tesla Model 3's 0.22 CD. Prominent black lower side sills emphasize the 2,909mm wheelbase length, and they can be body colored on request. A number of the 12 exterior cameras are clearly visible, like this one above the wheel arch. From the front, you'd certainly know this was a Polestar, but if you were only able to see this nose section with its characteristic L-shaped headlamps, you might initially struggle to identify exactly which one it was. The beams are of the advanced pixel LED kind, and precision lighting illuminates this front logo at night. Cooling is taken care of by this deep lower intake. The screenless rear is, as we've seen, shall we say, unusual. At least you don't have to worry about clearing away autumn leaves on misty mornings from the tailgate. It's all very minimalist with a narrow full-width LED light strip. The lower bumper has none of the fancy diffuser-like detailing you'll find with rivals. It's just a wide expanse of black plastic. Time to take a look inside, which in typical Polestar fashion you can access via a digital key app on your phone. You will want to do that because the alternative is using this very cheap feeling key fob, which doesn't have any buttons on it because the car is supposed to sense its approach and it's supposed to unlock itself when you get here. Up front, in true Polestar fashion, it's very minimalist with Nike-style, fashion-centered, sustainable materials and a high-set, dual-level center console that cocoons you in position behind a three-spoke wheel with its 12 o'clock center marker. Thoughtful use of textures and lighting gives an upmarket feel, particularly with starlit, illuminated deco upper door panels which look lovely at night. This is the first Polestar with a landscape format central screen, an Android Automotive 15.4-inch display, which is supposed to give the cockpit a wider and sportier feel. That's complemented by a 10.2-inch digital driver's display and a 14.7-inch head-up display, which in a typically Swedish touch shows in yellow when it's snowing. Surprisingly, you don't really notice the lack of a rear screen, and one of the reasons why is that this Polestar certainly isn't short of glass. A huge swathe of it is above you with this massive panoramic fixed roof, to which can be added a layer of electrochromic film if you're worried about potential glare. There obviously has to be a digital rear view mirror to take the rear screen's place. It's 8.9 inches in size and it's activated by a Gentex 2.5 megapixel roof mounted camera, which offers a 121-degree field of view and can pan left and right when you're indicating. If things are suspiciously quiet with the kids on the back seat, then a press of a button returns the mirror to its original format. Unlike Tesla, Polestar thinks you do need steering column stalks for wipers and gear selection. They are rather shiny and a bit cheap feeling here. And again, unlike Tesla, Polestar thinks you need a dedicated instrument screen too. This one's not especially big by segment standards, which prevents it from showing full screen mapping, and parts of it are slightly blocked by the steering wheel here, but it is clearly laid out and it's easy to absorb at a glance. It always displays speed, battery level and range, which you can have with no background, GPS mapping background or a drive assist graphic. We mentioned this Android Automotive central infotainment monitor, which depending on which of the two bottom right-hand corner home buttons you press, has a home screen which displays either in customizable widget sections or rows of little icons. Much of what you'll need will be found in this monitor's drive and charge sections, and there is also one here for shortcuts which will allow you to quickly open things like the charge port, the tailgate, and rather unnecessarily, the glove box. There's lots on the screen, including Wi-Fi and 5G phone tethering, but we've found it rather slow to respond. Sometimes it requires several finger jabs, and many of the extra features come as part of a Connected Services Plus package, which you will have to pay an annual subscription after the first year. There are some unusual screen-activated touches, like an ambience screen with a solar system-inspired cabin orbit light line showing average temperature, day length, diameter and gravity of a whole range of planets, the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune, along with a Polestar show car in space animation. Why you'd want that in a family car, we're not quite sure. We are also uncertain about the fact that, like Tesla, Polestar includes a screen-activated animal mode, which keeps the climate system active if you leave pets in the car when you're away from it. But that only works until the battery reaches 20% of charge, and that sounds, well, potentially dangerous to us. I mean, car makers really shouldn't be encouraging owners to leave pets in the car, full stop. More useful though is a car wash mode that prepares the exterior of the car for those invasive brushes. What else? Well, you sit lower than you would do in a more SUV-orientated rival on superbly supportive seats, actually. We can't help thinking this cabin would benefit from more physical buttons, though, which obviously isn't an issue unique to Polestar in this segment. The main physical control here is this circular silver rotary dial on the center stack, which looks initially as if it might be a useful BMW-type iDrive style infotainment controller, but it turns out to do little more than alter audio volume. This is, though, a reasonably practical cabin. There's a lidded box between the seats here with twin USB-C ports, and further forward on the higher part of this centre console are covered cup holders and a wireless charging mat. Plus there's a vast, if rather shallow, space in the lower part of this console too. We mentioned the screen activating glove box. There are also decently sized door bins, but no sun visor ticket clips. Time to consider the rear. Now, the whole idea of not having a rear screen is part of what the company calls a new approach to SUV coupe design, which aims to deliver this genre's appealing, swept-back look without the usual compromises in rear seat passenger headroom. So let's take a look. The reason that there can't be a rear screen in this car is because the designers have repositioned the rear header rail from its usual siting at the back of the roof there to a place just behind the rear passengers' heads. And that is, of course, exactly where the rear screen would normally be. You might fear that this would create a coal hole experience for rear seat occupants, but largely thanks mainly to the way that this huge glass roof stretches back behind the passengers' heads, and partly also because of the little quarter-light windows there, it really doesn't feel like that at all. And as promised, headspace is indeed really generous for a coupe SUV of this kind. Polestar says a couple of 6'2" adults will comfortably fit here, even before these heated back seats power recline back from 28.5 to 34 degrees via buttons in the armrest. Subjectively, there seems to be a lot more leg space than you'll get in the Polestar 2, even though this 4 is only around 200mm longer. Width-wise, it doesn't feel particularly spacious, but the flat floor that you expect from an EV means that the middle seat occupant could be accommodated without too much difficulty. Polestar provides tri-zone climate control with this provided panel here just below the twin centre vents, along with overhead reading lights, twin USB-C ports, B-pillar vents and decently sized door bins. There are also netted seat back pockets above which you're reminded of this car's whole sustainability vibe by this message on each upper seat back, which informs you that the PET upholstery is fabricated with zero waste. Let's finish by considering luggage space. Now, this powered tailgate can be operated by foot activation too, and rises to reveal a reasonable 526 litre space, accessed over this impractically silvered loading lip. The most interesting touch is this little pull-down panel behind the rear headrests that can keep the passenger compartment snug if you're loading out back in cold and blustery conditions. Otherwise, things are pretty conventional here. There's a boot floor panel you can position at 2 heights, and below the cargo base is a narrow underfloor compartment for the charging leads. There's a netted area and a 12-volt socket on the left, lights on both sides but not in the inner tailgate, 4 tie-downs and 2 bag hooks. Disappointingly, Polestar provides neither a ski hatch or a convenient 40-20-40 split backrest, and that means if you have 2 rear passengers to carry, long loads like skis are going to have to go on the roof. With the 60-40 split backrest flattened down, up to 1,536 litres of space is available. If you need further space for the charging leads, a little 15-litre frunk is available beneath the bonnet. At the time of our test in summer 2025, the lineup started with the long-range single motor model, this one, at around £60,000. You need about £67,000 for the alternative long-range dual motor version. The Polestar website has regular so-called seasonal offers, which can reduce those figures by £2,000 to £3,000. Most customers, as usual with EVs, will acquire ownership under leasing or a PCP scheme. To give you some idea when it comes to that, at the time of this test, this long-range single-motor model was quoted at £417.76 per month. We should also brief you on the manner in which you'll need to buy or lease this car. Polestar is now starting to use conventional dealerships. Many of these are Volvo franchises, but it still maintains what it calls Polestar spaces. These are basically automotive department stores in shopping centres. Currently there are 7 of those. The primary idea though is still that you should place your order online via the British section of the polestar.com website. Then connect into the brand as and when you need to. They can come to you when your car needs servicing, for example, 3 years cover for which is included in the price. As for rivals, well, this Polestar 4 sits at the upper premium brand end of the mid-sized EV saloon and crossover market. That means that it's priced at around £10,000 to £15,000 more than similarly sized mainstream maker models like, say, the Volkswagen ID4, Kia's EV6, Hyundai's Ioniq 5 or Ford's Explorer, cars which Polestar thinks compete more naturally with their more mainstream Polestar 2, which, for reference, is priced from around £45,000. A Polestar 4 customer would be far more likely to be considering a car like the BMW i4, the Porsche Macan Electric or the Mercedes CLA, or perhaps a better Tesla Model Y or an Audi Q6 e-tron. Maybe also a Lexus RZ or a Genesis GV60. All of these are in a similar pricing ballpark to what's being asked here. But there's nothing quite like a Polestar 4, and if you agree, then you're going to need to know about standard spec. So standard equipment includes 20-inch aero wheels, LED headlights with active high beam, power folding frameless mirrors, deployable e-latch powered door handles, UV and noise reducing laminated glass, rain sensing wipers, an alarm and a big panoramic glass roof. Drive stuff that includes adaptive cruise control, multi-mode steering, hill descent control and a one-pedal drive brake regeneration system. Polestar also includes a digital key so you can effect entry via a phone app and a heat pump too to maintain EV range in colder months. And there are all the usual benefits of the Polestar Connect phone app so you can interact remotely with your car, locking it and unlocking it from wherever you are and preconditioning the cabin's climate system before you get into it. Inside there's powered heated front seats, a wireless charging mat, a 10.2-inch driver's display and a 360-degree camera system, plus the digital rear view mirror, of course, which you have to have because there's no rear screen. Media connectivity, that's taken care of by a 15.4-inch central display with Wi-Fi and 5G phone tethering, plus the usual over-the-air updates, Bluetooth and Apple CarPlay phone mirroring. This monitor also comes with 12 months free use of the brand's Connected Services Plus package. This includes Google Maps, the Google Assistant, a Google Chrome beta browser, Spotify, YouTube, Waze navigation, a Vivaldi web browser, the Tidal global music streaming service, TuneIn Radio and Prime Video. For the UK market, Polestar also includes a Plus pack with this car that includes pixel LED headlights, a head-up display, StarNit illuminated deco fascia panels, auto-dimming exterior mirrors, 3-zone climate system with a rear control screen, 12-way adjustable front seats, heat for the steering wheel and the rear seats, a PM 2.5 air filtration setup, a powered tailgate with kick-action opening and upgraded 22 kilowatt AC charging capability. Also a 1320 watt 12-speaker Harman Kardon audio system. What about options? Well, you might want the alternative upholstery option we have here, mist tailored knit with the zinc deco, or you can go further and get ventilated leather seats with a massage function and Harman Kardon headrest speakers. What else? Well, it's worth ticking the box for the Prime Pack, which for £1,000 more gives you rear privacy glass, and the brand's Pilot Pack, which includes lane change assist and the Volvo-derived Pilot Assist System 2, which automatically keeps you centered in your driving lane and the right distance from the vehicle in front. All that has been fitted here, along with a Pro Pack 2, which gives you 21-inch diamond cut pro wheels, striped seat belts and gold tyre valve caps. If you want to go further, there's also a Performance Pack that'll give you bigger 22-inch forged wheels, Polestar engineered chassis tuning, Brembo brakes and gold accents for the seat belts, the brake calipers and the tyre valve caps. You can also add a layer of electrochromic film to the glass roof, and that's to reduce glare. A tow bar is available too, and there are two 21-inch wheel rim options. Whatever kind of Polestar 4 you choose, remember that unless you specify the only standard colour, that's magnesium, then you will be paying Polestar more for your choice of paintwork shade. We've got metallic electron blue here. On to safety kit, there's a lot of it, borrowed from Volvo. All the passive stuff, of course, an ultra high strength steel safety cage, whiplash injury protection, tyre pressure monitoring and 7 airbags, including a pair of front and side airbags, 1 inner side bag and 2 inflatable curtains. Electronic stuff comes courtesy of 12 ultrasonic sensors, 4 short range cameras, 1 rear view HD camera, 2 forward facing HD cameras behind the windscreen, 4 side view HD cameras and 1 driver monitoring camera in the A-pillar. As a result, there's advanced collision avoidance along with forward collision warning, with specific collision avoidance not only for other vehicles but also for cyclists and pedestrians. You also get a lane keeping aid, lane departure warning and rear collision warning and mitigation. Plus there's cross traffic alert with brake support, blind spot information with steer assist, oncoming lane mitigation and post-impact braking. As you'd expect, there's road sign information too, driver alert control and an exit assist system to stop occupants from opening their doors in the face of oncoming road users. If you've already viewed our driving section, you'll know that Polestar quotes an EV range figure of up to 385 miles for the long-range single motor version of this model. Refreshingly, as long as you're pretty restrained with your right foot, you shouldn't be too far off that figure in day-to-day use. Based on this test, we've been achieving around 370 miles. That should be regularly possible. Think more like 350 miles for the long-range dual motor version that we've also tried for this test. That's a car that's officially rated at 367 miles. Check out the range figures on the Car and Driving app for rival models, and you'll find that those figures are very class competitive, and they're helped by a standard heat pump that enables you to maintain range in really cold temperatures. As is the charging speed. Both 4 models can DC charge at up to 200 kilowatts. Now true, that's some way off the 270 kilowatt speed of an 800 volt model in this class, like an Audi Q6 e-tron or a Porsche Macan electric, but it does allow this Polestar to top up using a rapid public charger from 10 to 80% in about half an hour. What about AC charging at home though? Well, if you have a conventional 7.4 kilowatt wall box, you'll need 13 hours and 47 minutes for a full charge, although in most cases overnight charging will be possible because only 8 hours and 16 minutes are needed if the charge is only from 20 to 80%. With a 3-phase 11 kilowatt AC supply, the charge time is 11 hours, and that you can reduce to 5 hours 30 minutes if you use a 3-phase AC charge using the upgraded 22 kilowatt AC charging system, which was standard on this car at the time of this test. As you'd expect, you can schedule charging using either the central screen or the Polestar app. Polestar is very hot on assessing the carbon footprint of its cars, and the 4 is supposed to have the smallest carbon footprint of any of the brand's models to date. Tested by the company's life cycle assessment process, the long-range single motor version that was found to produce 19.8 tons of CO2 over its lifetime, over 200 1,000 kilometers of use. With the long-range dual-motor version, that figure rises to 21.3 tons of CO2. To give you some comparison perspective, a petrol-powered Volvo XC40 will emit 58 tons of CO2 over its life cycle. What else? Well, at the time of filming in the 2025 to 26 tax year, EVs were benefit in kind tax rated at 3%, but they incur a VED road tax first year charge of £10 with a £195 charge annually thereafter. The insurance group for the long-range single-motor version is 45. For the long-range dual-motor, it's group 48. Expected depreciation is predicted at 55% after 3 years and 36,000 miles. That is a strong showing. Servicing on a Polestar 4 is every 2 years or 18,750 miles, whichever comes first. And as we filmed, the company was offering a free 3-year, 31,250 mile servicing package at point of purchase. At the time of this test, there were 93 Polestar service points in the UK. The brand provides a disappointingly mediocre 3-year, 60,000 mile warranty and the usual 8-year, 100,000 mile battery warranty to 70% of battery capacity. There's also a 12-year anti-corrosion warranty and 3 years of 24/7 roadside assistance. This 4 encapsulates Polestar's gradual repositioning away from its former Volvo parent, not least in the fact that it's the first car from this EV brand to be built on a Geely platform rather than a largely Volvo one. And the design here feels far more uniquely Polestar, not least in the polarizing decision to do without a rear screen. The company says it doesn't use customer clinics as part of the development process, which is just as well because that feature wouldn't have survived that process. But you might like it, and you might very well like this car. The competition it faces is formidable, but we think that this 4 has enough about it to stand apart. Whether its premium pricing will allow it to sell in the kinds of numbers that the brand's hoping for is another question entirely. Rarity, though, might well be another draw of the 4. It has plenty.